The U.S. has come under heavy criticism in the past for cutting its funding for UN agencies. The U.S. Congress cut funding of UNFPA programs from $30 million in 1995 to $20 million in 1997. The move was seen as retrogressive to achieving the goal set in Cairo in 1994. The Cairo Forum made a global commitment to mobilize $17 billion annually by the turn of the century and $21 billion by 2015 for population and reproductive health programs. Currently, less than $10 billion per year is being directed to these programs, close to $8 billion of it from developing countries. Delegates at the conference have been calling on governments to fulfill funding commitments made in Cairo, Egypt 5 years ago. Yesterday, the Netherlands, which contributes a significant percentage of its overseas development assistance for reproductive health programs across the world, censored wealthy nations which were withholding funding for the programs. The Minister for Development Cooperation, Evelyn Hefken, said yesterday that it was embarrassing that governments are not fulfilling their pledges. She called on them to put their money where their mouths are. Hillary Clinton said today that she hoped that the Clinton administration's $25 million proposal for UNFPA programs would be accepted by Congress. She said women's reproductive rights are key to development. The First Lady stressed that 600,000 women do not have to bleed to death at childbirth each year for lack of efficient safe motherhood programs, adding it was no time to cut commitments for family planning programs and reducing funding for education. The American First Lady also cautioned governments against forced family planning. She said the government has no place in personal decisions that a woman makes in deciding when and how many children she should have. She criticized China's one-child policy, saying it was dehumanizing. Mrs. Clinton said voluntary family planning would reduce the number of illegal abortions worldwide. Farida Karoney, KTN, at The Hague, Netherlands.
Reproductive health care and the means to achieve it remained the key concern of delegates who attended last week's Conference on Population and Development in the Netherlands. This time, it was not so much the political commitment or lack of it. The concern was monetary.
We have much further to go. When nearly 600,000 women around the world still die every year, that is one every minute, from pregnancy-related causes, this is no time to cut back on our commitments to family planning. When there are still 960 million illiterate adults in the world today, and 2/3 of them are women, this is no time to question our investments in education.
And when Hillary Rodham Clinton spoke, it was a show of enthusiasm and support by her husband's administration for population programs. But this did not allay fears that the Clinton administration may not deliver on its promises.
We know what we have to do, and we know how we wish to do it. It's all right to say that we have to spend the available money efficiently. But for money to be spent efficiently, it has to be there. And it's only very partially there.
The U.S. Congress cut funding to the United Nations Population Fund from $30 million in 1995 to $20 million in 1997 and froze it altogether last year. President Clinton has pledged to restore a $25 million voluntary contribution to UNFPA, but only if Congress approves the proposal. Together with Japan, the U.S. accounts for a shortfall of $2.4 billion. Developing countries are meeting as much as 70% of their financial commitments made in Cairo 5 years ago. The donor countries remain far short of their financial commitments. Their support stands at $1.4 billion, just a quarter of the goal agreed. And according to UNFPA, donor funding remains crucial for population programs.
The bottom line still has to be that we need to get more resources because the global development assistance levels are really going down from 54 billion in 1994 to 47 billion, the latest figures of the OECD, in 1997.
Population competing with many other development programs for funding, the United Nations Population Fund is calling on governments to put population high on the national agenda. The problem is governments are talking tough on population but putting their monies elsewhere. Farida Karoney, KTN, at The Hague, Netherlands.